Hello everybody, I have a pile of packages, so you know what that means. It's time for a mailbag. This is a pretty good mix of, I think, mostly maker stuff. We'll see. Open this up. I think this is the latest one to come in. And yep, in mailbag 50, I talked about getting some of these STM32 chips. And I've programmed one or two in my life, but yeah, I don't use these things very often. And I know there's a lot of counterfeits out there, and so the question is this a counterfeit? These came out to, I think, about $5 each. I think it was $20 for 5 of them. So let's see what we got. Now they are branded STM32P, and it doesn't look like there's been anything kind of silkscreened underneath the thing. So they at least claim to be legit chips. Now a lot of the fake ones don't even bother putting the STM logo on them. So these things are for a project in particular where I'm doing what they call blue SCSI, and you use this little microcontroller and you put it on a board and you can do an SCSI SCSI interface for a lot of Macs and Amigas and even PCs and stuff like that. And this kind of serves as the brain behind the thing. So one of the things with something like this is, you know, there are so many, this isn't new right now, but there's so many like new hotness microcontrollers out there. And for me, I'm not trying to learn them all. I mean, I'm just not. Like I found a project that I need this one, and so I'm going to learn more about this one. But other than that, I pretty much stick with the ones that I use all the time. You know, I like to tinker like everybody else, but time is the limiting factor. I've got so many projects going on that I just can't spend all my time learning every microcontroller, because this might be a little bit faster than the ESP32 at some particular task. But that being said, this is the microcontroller that the project calls for, so I'm gonna use it. I've got a programmer for it, and I'm gonna use it and see how it goes. So I will let you know in the description if these turned out to be authentic and programmable, and if not, I'll also let you know that as well. All right, since I've got this sitting over here right next to me, I figured I'd grab it. This says $10 at the top, but I actually paid $8 for it. This is a tube tester slash something, utility tester they call it, a Maxon Electronics model 161. And I was at a thrift store, and they actually had a bunch of these for, I guess it turned out to be $8. And I obviously don't do a lot with tubes. I used to do some tube amp repair here and there, but these things had various states of components in them, and they were nice enough to give me one that was like, you know, I took the one that didn't have the prettiest case, but in exchange for that, I got all the probes and stuff. So this one has this weird power cord here. So you've got a power cord that goes in here. It looks like you can plug an appliance in here, and you can test, you know, it says resistance and volts and amps and everything like that, all on one gauge. I did take one that had, you know, more of a scratch on it. You can't get everything you want, but it's got a straightener and different thingies. I don't know. I honestly have no idea what I'm going to do with this, but I'm going to try to find out exactly all the different things it does. And yeah, we'll see. Could be kind of fun. If you have used one of these things and you have any hints for me, let me know. I'm going to go ahead and release this video really closely to when I bought this stuff. So this won't be one of my ones where I filmed it in May and release it in October. It's October 1st, and this will come out relatively quickly. All right, next up, we've got another Amazon one. So what happened was I did a lot of project stuff, and I wound up having to order like a few parts from Amazon and a whole bunch of them from China. And so obviously the Amazon ones get here first. And this is just some of the stuff that I needed. So these are right angle, and I think they're what, 10 millimeter, 8 millimeter, 6 by 8 millimeter. So yeah, they're 8 millimeter tall. But these are 8 millimeter right angle momentary push buttons. Now the funny thing is, in a previous mailbag, I got an assortment of what I thought was every possible one of these things I could have wanted, and then I came across a project that needed some right angle ones. So I've got a PCB that most of it is SMD, but I need to solder some right angle pins on here so that you can actually get to the button from the side, and it just turned out that in the amount of time I had, it made sense to get them from Amazon. The price wasn't that much different. I think actually what I did, if I'm not mistaken, is I ordered a small quantity of them from Amazon to get me started, and then a larger amount from China. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see more of these come up in a future video. But I think I needed 3 per project, and there's 20 in here, so I think I got enough to, you know, kind of get me started, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so we're gonna make a mess cutting these kind of bags this way, but we're gonna do it anyway. And what do we have here? Ah, yes. Oh, hold on. Okay, oh, okay, they're both in the same package. I was thinking, okay, so what I was confused about is I placed these as 2 separate orders, yet these came in together, and so anyway, I thought that these were the 2 separate packages, so that's why I'm very confused. So these are bulk Diablo pruning blades, and I've got a chainsaw, but I'm actually a pretty big fan of, for quick cuts, using the, I guess it's sealed down further, for quick cuts using the reciprocating saw. You know, you can just keep it in your car, you're not worried about oil leaking all over the place, so sometimes I'll keep it in my van, and this is just a really aggressive pruning blade. And so I got these in a couple different styles. I got 3 of them in Diablo, which are probably the ones that I'm going to use, and then I got these other ones that I got probably primarily as a gift. They had really good reviews and stuff like that, but I'm going to be using mine a lot more harshly. So these are EZArc and these are Diablo. And I'll say, just in general, I mean, maybe there's a situation where I'm wrong. I will say this is a relatively thick blade, so I don't know if that'll slow it down or what. It says fast cutting or fast clean, but in general, I don't think I've ever been disappointed with a Diablo product. Most of the time you get them from Home Depot. It just turned out that they were a lot cheaper to get these from Amazon. But I mean, Diablo blades on my circular saws, on my table saws, my chop saws, grinder blades, sanding discs, reciprocating saw blades, jigsaw blades, like pretty much anytime I get a Diablo product, it's not like fine woodworking, the best quality, but it is the best bang for the buck that you're going to pick up at the big box store. And so really love them, and I'm really excited to actually use these blades. We had that hurricane come through, and I've got a lot of things where the, you know, just hitting it with the reciprocating saw. One of the things about, you know, these kind of things and using a reciprocating saw is that you can use the reciprocating saw in a lot of places that are a little bit more dangerous to use a chainsaw. And so, you know, you can just kind of one-hand it and extend your arm, and in the event that, like, you know, the branch falls and you come down and the saw swings back by your leg, I mean, you're not going to have the trigger pressed and stuff like that. It's a lot, feels like a lot safer tool to use for some of the more aggressive cuts in the field. So anyway, got some blades, and if you've never used Diablo, highly recommend you check them out. I'll have links in the description for these and most of the products. This one is a little heavier. I can tell what it is. So this one, I actually made a mistake. It didn't turn in, I'm gonna cover that up. It didn't wind up being in mailbag 50 because I ordered the wrong pitch. This is 50 conductor cable, which is for SCSI, like the Macs and all the other computers use. I don't need to take it out, but this stuff comes in 2.54 millimeter and 2 millimeter, and several different, obviously they make ribbon cables, a lot of pitches, but this gray stuff, I didn't realize that they had 2.54, I guess it'd technically be 1.27, because it's every other pin, but they make it basically 1 millimeter and 1.27, and I had ordered the wrong one. Fortunately, I got it from a place that I could return it, but I had a 100-foot roll, which was going to be really sweet, except it was just too fine of a pitch. So this is the perfect one for the connectors that I have and stuff like that. So I will be talking more about this stuff in a future video. All right, this one had my address all over it. I took it off this one side. Let me go ahead and cut this way. See if I can get into the box. Yeah, that's what I thought that was. Okay, oh, that is a big old box for this thing. Wow, okay, so these are resistor networks, and I've used these on the RGB to HDMI. You use them on some old hard drives, but basically there are a lot of protocols and things like that where signals can reflect, and so it's not uncommon for them to use a resistor as a termination. And what happens is when you have stuff like these big long ribbon cables that have a whole lot of lines, you tend to use, instead of using 9 resistors, you would use what they call a resistor network. And so this project calls for each card that has 50 pins on it, I need 2 330 ohm resistor networks and 2 220 ohm resistor networks. So I need 4 total. This is the 33, I believe. And so if you look at them, they have a dot on that left side, and that is, I believe that's the ground. And then every single one of these from here on out is 220 ohms. So the one thing that's kind of tough about ordering these things, and it's more for you know, the store's not doing it the same. You can see there it says 10x on there. But the idea is that they're not always consistent. Sometimes they will call this a 10x, sometimes they will call this a 9x because it's 1 ground and 9 resistors. And sometimes they'll call this a 9 pin and really it has 10 pins. So you really have to like look at your schematic and count the total number of pins you need, as well as on the picture of the item, to make sure that I needed one that had 9 resistors, which is 10 pins, and this company refers to that as a 10x. So I've ordered them wrong before, so that's just a little pro tip if you ever need these things. They're kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. They're also one of those things that are not always easy to source. Like, you can't get all of them from AliExpress. Like, you have a really easy time getting 6 and 9s, nice, but you can't get 10s. And so just, you know, it is what it is. I've got one more here. I've got more stuff coming in that I'll add to this mailbag, but I've got one more coming in here that I kind of want to get your opinion on. I got this, and I was wondering if anybody's ever used one. So I got this from Google, and again, I'm kind of, you know, not super into the IoT things, but it looks kind of interesting. It's one of those Nest hubs that's basically like a smart speaker with a display on it and stuff like that. So does some kind of cool home automation, things like that. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to wind up keeping this, but I just wanted to check. Maybe I'll do a separate opening and unboxing and stuff like that later. But does anybody here have one, and do you like the thing? What do you think about it? Like, I've kind of read some mixed reviews about it, and so just kind of interested in knowing what you all think of this. And if you want me to do a video, I may do a video, but I'm guessing you probably don't want me to do a video on it because it's probably not that interesting. So anyway, that's what I got. I know I've got more packages coming in, but I just had to get this stuff out of the box so I could test it.